Hey guys, David here and welcome back to War for Cybertron Week, and this time we're going to be taking a look at Transformers War for Cybertron Deluxe Class Megatron.
No. Can't find what you're looking for. BigBadToyStore.com. It's big, it's bad, it's a toy store. But more importantly, it has it all. From Transformer and Star Trek figures to Dark Knight collectibles and G.I. Joes. It has everything, complete with great customer service. It is the one stop to shop. BigBadToyStore.com. It's big, it's bad, it has it all. Click the link below and visit now.
Now right off the bat, that is one of my top complaints about this figure. Deluxe Class. He's the leader of the Decepticons. Why not at least give him a Voyager class figure, let alone a leader class? But nonetheless, we're stuck with a Deluxe Class figure, and I gotta say, it's not a bad figure. In fact, it's actually one of my favorite figures from this line. Here we have Megatron in his Cybertronian tank mode. Of course, he couldn't be the gun like he was in G1, so they had to settle with a Cybertronian tank. Now, according to Hasbro, he also has a second mode, and not only according to Hasbro but as well as the developers behind the War for Cybertron video game, and that is his hovercraft mode. And I'm going to show you that in a second. It's a very difficult transformation to get there, so let's get started. First, what you want to do is take the tank treads and fold them in, and there we go. Yeah, not the most not the most difficult transformation. And I gotta say, you know, this is one of my slight little pet peeves about this figure is the fact that, yeah, this mode kind of makes sense for him to have in the game because there's moments where he has to use his tank mode to get around, and then there are other moments where he uses his hovercraft mode to get over certain terrain within the Cybertronian world. But the fact that Hasbro goes as far to advertise this mode at the back of the box just makes the mode look more of an afterthought than what it really is. And me personally, I like to display him in his Cybertronian tank mode because I feel like he looks like he occupies more space that way, and he just looks a lot more dynamic and cool. So I prefer his Cybertronian tank mode. And overall, I really like the design of the figure. I really like the designs that they have going on over here in the back. Kind of reminds me of the vehicles from the Star Fox games. And he just looks really cool. Color scheme looks really nice, except I want to wait until I get to the robot mode in order to talk about the color scheme because I feel like that's where it shines the most. And I really like the design. I really like all the detail that was put into the figure, if you can see right there. He looks really cool with all the panels and like I said, the design. My only complaint would be that it's not so much a complaint as it is just me being, you know, having wishful thinking, and that is that I would have really liked to have had working treads for his tank treads right here, instead of having these really small kind of rinky-dink wheels that he's got right there. I don't know if you can see them. They're kind of black and they're really small, so there they are. But yeah, he uses these wheels in order to be able to be mobile and get around. And he moves around just nice, except just, you know, having workable treads would have been really badass and it would have looked really cool. But instead we got these wheels, but I digress. Apart from rolling around, his only other feature is the ability to fire his missile via his cannon here. All you gotta do is just press this red button and it fires his missile. And it shoots a really fair distance. My only nitpick about the cannon would be that the button to release the missile is quite sensitive, so any simple touch would discharge the missile, and it could become a bit of a nuisance when it comes to his transformation, which we're gonna do right now. To start things off, we got to remove his cannon, and like I said, you know, touching the button is very sensitive and it could discharge the missile at any second. And it's really annoying because in order to transform him, you have to remove the cannon almost each and every single time, whether it be from robot mode to Cybertronian tank mode or vice versa. And since this button is really sensitive, it's almost a guarantee that you're going to touch it somehow, some way. You may risk losing the missile. But anyways, we're going to move that to the side there. And to start things off, let's go ahead and lift these panels that are inside. Just for convenience. I like to do this mainly for convenience, not so much because I have to or it's in the instructions. And then next, we're going to take this panel here and pop it off of the peg. You know, that it has a peg inside a hole in there. And all we got to do is just lift it up to undo it. There's the hole inside the peg. And same thing on the other side. And plain and simple, all we're going to do is just take this entire piece and extend it to form the legs. like so. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side and extend. And we might as well get the legs situated here. I'm going to extend the legs all the way, make sure that the knees are in place. Then I'm going to take these panels, fold them down, that's going to form the feet. We take these panels and flip them to the side in order to give them better balance. Do the same thing on the other side. And now we get them standing. And we already got about halfway done. Let's tilt up the camera as usual. And I think we're good there. Next up, we take this piece that happens to have some forms of pincer there. It's probably used in some sort of tactical way in his Cybertronian tank mode. And we simply just detach it from this piece as well as this piece right here. It pops off from this piece and it slides out from this one. So we just slide it out like so. And as you can see, it already came undone. We rotate it counterclockwise 45 degrees. We take it and we push it down on this piece. And it pops into place somehow, but not all the way. It just fits right there. Then we're going to take these pieces, and this one's already undoing itself, but we take these two blocky pieces and we take them, extend them to the side, and then press down in order to form the shoulders. So we take that, and it's a little difficult. It's more difficult to pop him back into place when transforming him back to Cybertronian tank mode, but they're a little hard, so there you go. Take that. Flip it down. There you go. Let's go ahead and flip up his head. Boop. And we take this, what is seemingly a crotch piece. You flip it up and you press it into place, and that forms his chest piece. And it's not popping in, but I guess it doesn't have to pop in. There you go. Alright. Let's go in the back over here and take this panel, flip it up. Sure, everything is situated. It's already kind of tilting back. There you go. Next comes what is the hard part for any avid Transformer collector that happens to have the absence of this little thing called fingernails. See, here's the thing. His hand is formed by two pieces that are inside his treads here. His tread pieces. Inside are his hands, but they're divided into halves. So you have to flip out half of his hand from this piece and then the other half from this piece. Clasp these two pieces together in order to not only form his forearm, but also his hand. So what I like to do is take a colored pencil and just try my best to get in there without either breaking the lead or breaking the piece of the figure or damaging the figure in any way. So there you go. We got one half of the, what is this, the right hand out. Now we got to get the other half. The other one's a little more difficult because of the way it's molded. This may take some time. And there you go. Got his hand out. And now you take, whoa, pencil's about to fall off. I need the pencil again. Come on, stay. Alright, so now we take these two pieces together and we clasp them together to form the forearm as well as the right hand. We take this, rotate it inwards, flip it down, although you could always, leave it bent at the elbow to give him a nice little pose, and we simply repeat with the other side. So let's take this pencil here, take out his hand. Once again, some editing may be required because this is a little more difficult than I ever give it credit for. Come on, get the thumb. Alright, there you go. Now let's try the other one. Oh, Lord have mercy. There you go. Now we got that out of the way. We take, forget you, pencil. Anyways, we take these two pieces and push them together, form the forearm, fold this forwards, rotate it, bend it at the elbow, and there we have Megatron. Oh wait, David, what am I thinking? Megatron cannot possibly be complete without his arm cannon. We take his cannon and he's got a square hole right there, and on either forearm he has a square peg. So you can put his cannon on either side. I'm going to go ahead and put it on the right side because I think that's where he always has it, so why not? Let's make sure that I got this right. And it's a little difficult to get it in there, but you'll hear a nice firm pop, like so. Is it in? Make sure that's popped in all the way because it has a nice, way of fooling you into thinking that it popped in all the way, but then it doesn't, and then it comes undone very easily. but once it's in, you'll hear a really loud pop, and there we have Megatron. Definitely one of my favorite figures. I really like how, like I said with Bumblebee, they managed to take design choices of their own to make these characters new and more organic, since they're still aliens at this time and they're on their home world, so obviously they're going to look alien, while at the same time retaining all those blocky qualities that they had from G1, as well as some characteristics from G1 that you can only tell that that's the character, that because of that particular trait you can tell that that's the character. In Bumblebee, it was pretty much all of these figures. The key characteristic that makes you go, wow, that's very G1-esque, is the head sculpt. With Bumblebee it was the same thing, and with Megatron it's no exception. I really dig the head sculpt that he's got going on there. Let me take this down so you can get him in the light. And he does have light piping. I really like how he does have a light piping piece of plastic right there on the back of his head. Now, getting the light to shine through his eyes is a little difficult, because when you look up close, I don't think you can see that very well, but it looks like his eyes are painted. But when I take the light, let me see if I can take the light and shine it somehow. Bear with me. Let me see if I can get it at an angle where you can see the light. No, it's not coming very well. Wait, a little bit right there. You can kind of see it. It does shine through. Unlike Bumblebee, Bumblebee is actually has his eyes painted blue, so that was a bit of a disappointment. But Megatron does come with light piping, and it does seem to shine through just a little bit. I don't know if the camera's picking it up very well, but I am looking at it, and it does look like it does come with working light piping, so that's pretty cool. And much like his alternate mode, I really like his design. I really like that, he looks a bit blocky, but the blockiness works in his favor because, he looked blocky not only in the game but also in G1. And, that blockiness also helps in creating a figure that feels sturdy. The plastic doesn't feel cheap, so it feels like not only does he have nice balance because of his really humongous feet, but also because he just looks durable. It doesn't feel like a cheap figure. He's very basic when it comes to some of the articulation. The only things that are worth pointing out is that he has a lot of movement in his knees. He can also rotate at the upper knee right there, which is mainly the thigh, but above the knee he can rotate. But the knee articulation is really great, but that's mostly due to the fact that it allows him to do so because of the transformation. Nonetheless, however, it's some really good articulation, and it is a little limited in the feet. He can rotate his feet forwards all the way, of course, but rotating it back is limited due to the form, due to the way that these pieces of plastic are molded. However, he does have a slight pivot to the left and to the right, so maybe that 1 millimeter of space will give you some opportunities to pose him in different ways. He's got some good movement in the arms and the elbow. He bends all the way at the elbow, so he's able to bend that far, and he's able to rotate at the elbow as well in two joints, except this second joint is mainly because of the transformation, like I said. He is a little limited in the upper arm because of the blockiness of this piece, but he is able to rotate at 360 degrees vertically. And his head also has full range of motion. My only complaints would be that there is no waist articulation. I forgot to point that out in my Bumblebee review. Bumblebee does come with some waist articulation, but Megatron doesn't. And also because of the transformation, this is the first, he has absolutely no articulation whatsoever in his hands, because like I showed you in the transformation, they're formed of these two pieces that you have to fold out and clasp them together. So because of that, no mobility whatsoever. They do look like they're molded to hold something, and Megatron does not come with anything to hold except the cannon, and of course the cannon goes on the peg on his forearms. So I'm curious as to whether or not Fans Project or some other third-party manufacturer or developer or whatever created a secondary weapon for Megatron. I know that there is a battle axe for Optimus Prime out there somewhere. I do know for sure it's available at Big Bad Toy Store. Check them out. I'm not even kidding. It's up there. I saw it one time, and I'm actually kind of tempted to buy it because it actually looks pretty cool. But I am curious as to whether or not Megatron does come with did have a secondary weapon developed for him, and I would definitely like to check that out and see if it's cool and if it's worth buying. Also, I mentioned in earlier in the review when I was talking about his Cybertronian tank mode that I really dig his color scheme. He's got the black, he's got the purple, he's got the hints of red, as well as his overall default white. And what I really like is that this is one of those cases where, you know how sometimes figures don't look like they do in the game or in the movie, and the color varies, the color of the color scheme of their clothes or the actual pieces or the figure or the character itself was different in the game or in the movie than it is in the figure that you receive. In this case, this is no different. The color is different than he was in the game. In the game, he was a little more gray. But here, it works in his favor because I actually like that he looks a little whiter here than he does in the game, because the fact that he has this whitish gray tint to these pieces here just makes him look more like he did in G1. And I thought that, that could be a nice little nod to his G1 counterpart. Overall, I really like this figure. I mean, sure, I still really wish that we would have had at least a Voyager class version of Megatron, let alone a leader class, but what we get is very cool. I really like his design. I really like the durability of the figure, as well as the range of articulation that he does have, even though he's missing in certain parts. And, I just really like this figure, and I really like to display him any chance I get. One thing that I really want to point out is how they got really detailed with this figure. Not only did he have really nice detail in his Cybertronian tank mode, but he also has some really cool detailings here in robot mode. One of the nice pieces of detail that I really like is the alternate Decepticon insignia over here in the back. I like how he has the basic one in the front here with a really cool looking chest plate right there. I don't know if you can see it. But along with that, he also has an alternate version of that Decepticon insignia in the back. And I like how the one on the back looks a lot more sinister than the one in the front. I really like it. It will make for an interesting tattoo. Not that I would get a tattoo, but if you do get one, this is the tattoo to get. I'm not endorsing tattoos. I'm just saying that this actually looks pretty cool. So just bear with me. So I really like this figure, probably just a little bit more than Bumblebee, to be honest. I still really can't get over the fact that we could have had a Voyager class Megatron as well as a Voyager class Optimus Prime, and that would have fit to scale with the characters that do deserve deluxe class figures, such as Bumblebee and Sideswipe, and characters like that. Characters that you would expect to be a little bit smaller than some of the characters that they were with in the game. So it's a little off-putting to have Megatron the same size as Bumblebee, and it looks like Bumblebee could definitely have the upper hand in the match. But what we do get is a really good figure. It's more than decent, and I definitely recommend it should you have the opportunity to get this figure. Despite the fact that this figure has probably been out for 3 years now, and it's a little difficult to find. But if you do, I definitely suggest that you nab it. I give Megatron an 8.7 out of 10, which is a B+. Be sure to check out this figure as well as anything else Transformers at BigBadToyStore.com. It's big, it's bad, it has it all. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.